Hello and welcome to Windows of the Soul, a weekly exploration of the stained glass windows at the Briarcliff Congregational Church. My name is Todd Farnsworth. I'm the pastor at the church, and with me today is Karen Sharman, the author of Glory in Glass and resident expert of all things stained glass here at Briarcliff Congregational Church. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Todd. Nice to be here.
Good to have you with us. I was wondering, as an introduction, if you could just tell us a little bit about the windows here in the Briarcliff Congregational Church.
Sure, love to. Thanks. So the Briarcliff Congregational Church is endowed with many wonderful gifts, spiritual and material. One of the church's priceless treasures is its collection of stained glass windows, which were installed between 1898 and 2007.
That's a long span.
All the windows, yeah. So it's about more than 100 years.
Yeah.
All of the windows were donated as memorial gifts, and that was a tradition started by the church's benefactor, Walter W. Law. Most of the windows represent Bible stories. Some show historic figures and important to Christian history or Christianity, to Christian faith. One or two allow the viewer's imagination to really run wild, which is great.
Yes, indeed.
Others have symbolism with multiple possible interpretations. So each one offers something a little different and a little unique.
Yes, and they're very inspiring. Just the beauty of these windows is incredible.
Totally. I mean, they're all beautiful to look at. They all change slightly as the light moves through the day. And they also are a kind of a reflection of the life and history and traditions of the church, as well as that of the Briarcliff community. So there are 17 stained glass windows in all, representing several well-known studios and decorative arts companies. There's the J&R Lamb Studios in New York, William C. Willett of Philadelphia, John Hardman Studios from Birmingham and London, England, and Woodhaven Studios from Bermuda. So we have a little bit of an international thing going on there.
That's pretty remarkable in one church.
Cool. Yeah. But perhaps the most well-known among these top-notch companies is Tiffany Studios.
Of course.
And BCC has 7 magnificent Tiffany windows that were installed between 1898 and 1906.
That's quite a span. Well, should we go look at a window now?
Excellent. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Today, we'll be looking at this beautiful window. Thankfully, I did not have to climb up into the rafters to get video footage of it for you. And we are looking at towards the front of the sanctuary, facing the altar on the right-hand side. We have this beautiful window, which looks to me, the layman, as a picture of Jesus blessing a group of children. And it looks like there's a couple of female adult types. Could be their moms, could be aunts, could be sisters who are with the children. And the leaves are a beautiful green and blue. And Karen, could you just tell us more about this? This is a gorgeous window.
Sure. Thanks, Todd. This is one of 7 magnificent Tiffany windows that the Briarcliff Congregational Church has. It's called, as you said, Christ Blessing the Children. And it was a memorial to Walter Law's infant granddaughter. And though this particular subject matter is never duplicated in Tiffany's works, it's a scene often repeated, sadly, because the high infant mortality rate of the period sort of heightened its appeal. So we have actually 2 windows that are donated in memory of infants that perished.
Oh, very sad.
And yeah, it's very sad. And it's a beautiful, beautiful window. And so it really speaks to that bond between Jesus and children.
Yeah.
Well,
really see the tenderness here.
Yes.
Jesus just with his hand on this child's head.
Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Now, while Tiffany designed most of his firm's early windows, often as a direct translation of his paintings, because he started out as a painter, and it was said that Tiffany could paint with glass. Eventually, he had to hire more qualified designers. And one of the kind of neat things is that he hired something they were called Tiffany girls. He hired a lot of women One of them, Agnes Northrop, actually designed the magnificent west transept window, which is a Tiffany landscape. But he also hired other women and other men as well. And the principal designer behind Tiffany himself was a gentleman called Frederick Wilson. Wilson became the chief window designer in 1897, and he really had a major impact on how American ecclesiastical stained glass looked during the beginning of the 20th century. And Wilson was actually awarded a gold medal at the Paris Exposition in 1900.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was really
He
cool.
was
And
from this area.
he was a prolific he had prolific artist. He exhibited phenomenal versatility and designed all types of religious and secular windows. It seems he preferred figure windows, and his favorite theme was Christ blessing the children. Now, we're pretty sure that Frederick Wilson designed most of the Tiffany windows that are similar to this one, in that it's all opalescent glass with painted faces, hands, and feet. And as you zoomed in before on that face of that little boy, beautiful, beautiful, delicate painting of the hands and feet. Hands and head, sorry.
And hopefully people can see that.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous,
see the shadow
gorgeous
work, and
right.
It's so precise. Each hair on the head.
Yeah,
is
beautiful, and that is actually hand painted on. The rest of the effects are all made within the glass, and we'll talk a little bit about that perhaps with this window as well.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that term, opalescence.
Yeah, opalescent glass.
What would be an example of that?
So, pretty much anything other than the painted hand and feet in the window. So opalescent glass is really a Tiffany invention, or maybe Lafarge invented it and Tiffany stole it, but it's also called American glass, and it's a nearly opaque glass. It's sort of milky in appearance, and multiple layers of glass are pressed together and then fused, or in some cases, metal oxides are added to the hot molten glass to create these effects of pattern. In this window, you see also the role of drapery glass. If you go down to the lower left-hand corner, maybe, Todd, it's a little. Maybe you can see it there.
Oh yes.
And if you actually go and touch it, it's very three-dimensional, right?
If I hold this over, you can see it.
It bulges out from the window.
Now my finger goes under the glass.
Perfect.
Here. Yeah. You can see it's out about a half inch from the flat of the glass. And actually all of this glass work here in this draped gown it's kind of billowy, I would say, or flowy. It's
Tiffany was a master of creating these special effects. And Frederick Wilson, if we feel that Frederick Wilson designed this window, probably his two daughters served as models for some of the children. That was sort of his custom, apparently. And other artists, as well as Frederick Wilson, other artists working for Tiffany Studios were known to sort of incorporate local color in their religious windows by putting in the minister or members of the congregation. So who knows, they might be members of the congregation at BCC circa 1899.
Wow. I wish they were making stained glass now so they could have my head emblazed.
There you
go. Wow, that might frighten people, though. That's not sure.
Well, as you see, particularly noteworthy is the stunning opalescent blue of Jesus's robe. You really get a sense of that.
Yeah.
And then the halo around Jesus' head is heightened, and also the trees is heightened by what Tiffany uses called confetti glass or fractured glass. So it's sort of a revival of an old Venetian method of embedding bits of colored glass into sheets of clear glass. So you can see these bits of fractured.
Yes.
Right. And
so are those melted in, Karen?
No, they're broken and put into like a molten sheet of clear glass, and then when it dries, it solidifies around these bits and fragments of glass.
I see.
And as you can see, if you back out a little bit, it's a highly effective device for landscape backgrounds, creating an impression of foliage, variegation. Yeah. So really very cool.
It really is. You get a sense that you're looking up through the trees on a sunny day,
right.
On a beautiful day. Yes.
Tiffany had sort of three major roles of windows, categories of windows. And one was a figural religious, which certainly this falls into that category.
Yes. Yes.
Another is figural historical, which we'll see one of those another day. And then figural, and then his landscape or ornamental. And we have one of those as well. So this window is signed. If you want to if you can zoom in on that, Todd.
It is signed.
Yeah, right under the little boy's foot there. It's signed Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company, New York. And often you can date Tiffany windows by the signature. This is a signature which was in common use between 1890 and 1899.
Okay.
And another signature that says the same thing but has a actual copyright date on it also. We have.
Oh, in a different window?
Yeah, in a different window. But that's generally the signature for between 1890 and 1899. Now, we're not really able to date exactly the date that this window was put in. I'm extrapolating that it was put in 1899, along with two other windows, Moses and St. George and the Dragon.
We'll be getting to those in future weeks. Yeah.
But only because I have a New York Daily Tribune article sheet that talks about things happening in Westchester County, and someone was clever enough to cut the date off. However, in the column that says Briarcliff Manor, if I could read it, it says another memorial window has been placed in the Congregational Church at this place, meaning Briarcliff. It is the gift of the Reverend John S. and Mrs. Penman of Bangor, Maine, in memory of their infant daughter, and bears the inscription in loving memory of Georgiana Law Penman, born April 23rd, died September 11th, 1895. And you can see that on the bottom there.
Yes.
Above the inscription is a beautiful picture of Christ blessing little children. The article goes on to say, the next social gathering for young men will be held at the parsonage on Monday evening next, when Corporal John F. Jenkins of Company C, 71st Regiment, will deliver his postponed address on the Santiago campaign. So now the Santiago campaign happened during the Spanish-American War, which was in 1898. So I'm extrapolating, and because of the signature, which was in use between 1890 and 1899, I think that the window was probably placed in 1899.
Excellent detective work.
So there you go. Yeah.
Ms. Sharman, that is a remarkable.
It's fun.
Agatha Christie would approve. Or Louise Penny. I think she's more modern.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
So within this window, you see a lot of Tiffany traits. So the drapery glass, the fractured glass. Even if you go back down to the bottom, Todd.
Yeah.
The bottom little. So you can see there that there are actually two pieces of glasses fused together, and then it's etched. So you can see that in memory of is etched.
Oh, yes. Let me.
Right?
I hope I can get that. It gives like a 3D effect.
Right. Well, two things happen in this
room.
glass. Can you see in the back of that glass is sort of that mottled effect? It's not just pure green. It's got these little funky mottled stripes down it.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that's
those seem to be behind letters.
Right. So there's another piece of glass fused to the back of that green piece of glass, fused to the back, and then those letters are etched. And the green glass that you see there has some sort of chemical in it, maybe fluorine. We'll talk about that in the George window, but fluorine that dries at various temperatures cools at various temperatures and creates that striped, striated effect. So it's not just a piece of plain old green glass.
That's remarkable. Boy, they were smart to figure all that out.
He had made a lot of experiments and created a lot of different techniques. Tiffany did.
Yeah. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Well, I'm trying to think if I have any other questions. Is this the broken, the fractured glass here that you're?
Yes, you can see bits of it right there. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. It looks like the veins in a leaf, but it's really fractured glass.
Right.
And
Todd, if you zoom in on next to the fractured glass, or even that yellow piece right there, just there, yeah. So that glass is opalescent glass, and it's created by fusing pieces of glass together, and also by adding metallic oxides into the mix to create that color. And that's how Tiffany was able to paint with glass. So there's nothing painted on it. It's all done within the glass itself.
Okay. Wow. And just a little close
Isn't
up.
that gorgeous? Yeah.
Those faces are just so precious. And I wonder if this is Georgiana coming to meet Jesus. It might be. It might be. Well, thank you, Karen. Thank you for sharing this beautiful window with us. And we hope you'll join us next week when we gather again for Windows of the Soul. And we hope that you will share this video with family, friends, anyone who might enjoy it. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Todd.